The story begins in Palpatine's office. Mace Windu, one of the most skillful lightsaber duelists, is fighting the ultimate evil, Lord Sidious. Mace pushes Palpatine back. Palpatine looks around. He sees a big chair next to him and decides to try something fancy. He does a backflip to the sides of the chair and jumps high up, trying to deflect Windu's attack and flip over him. But at that moment, Palpatine can't move. He just falls to the ground far away from Mace like a rag doll dropped from a ceiling. Well, that's weird. Windu didn't strike him down. Windu rushed to Palpatine, staying careful, knowing it could be one of his tricks. All he sees is a struggling old man. Palpatine's face tightens in confusion and pain. His hand instinctively grabs at his chest. His saber clatters to the ground. He tries to speak, but nothing comes out but a choked growl and a gasp. His eyes go wide, not with fury, but with something Mace doesn't expect: panic. Palpatine stumbles backward, knees buckling. His mouth twitches. Then nothing. Mace just stands there for a second, processing what is happening. Could it be some kind of medical emergency the mighty Sith Lord could not overcome? Then Anakin comes rushing to the scene. "Stay back, Skywalker. It might be a trick." "A trick? What do you mean, a trick? You struck down an unarmed man? What are you talking about, Skywalker? He killed 3 Jedi Masters. Even if that's true, it's not a Jedi way. You clearly got him into a corner and killed him in cold blood." Windu tells Anakin to search his feelings. Anakin just says that all his feelings tell him is that Windu struck down the Supreme Chancellor. He was a Sith Lord. He was too dangerous to be left alive. Anakin gets enraged. Images of Padme flash in front of his eyes. He won't be able to save her now, all because this monster in front of him couldn't arrest an old man but had to strike him down. Anakin kneels next to Palpatine and checks his pulse. Windu just said to be careful. It could be a trick. Anakin couldn't feel a pulse. He remembered what Palpatine said about saving Padme, and a sudden rage consumed him, centered around the man standing before him. Mace Windu has been bossing him around, even bullying him, since he arrived at the temple, and now he destroyed any chance for Padme to survive. Anakin ignited his lightsaber. "Skywalker, what are you doing?" And Anakin lunged at him. The air around them crackled with tension, thick with the scent of scorched metal and burning debris. Anakin's breath came in ragged bursts, his eyes blazing with a reflection of his lightsaber as his lightsaber struck down furiously toward Windu. Palpatine's lifeless body still lay nearby, but Anakin's rage only seemed to grow, fueling every violent swing as if trying to erase the choice he had just made. Windu deflected the strikes with practiced precision, his purple blade a controlled storm of defiance. "Anakin, stop!" he commanded, parrying another vicious blow. "This path will destroy you!" But Anakin's only response was a feral snarl, his saber coming down with such force that Windu had to lean into Vapad completely, the form's aggressive counterbalancing barely holding back the raw power battering him. Their blades clashed again, the hum of energy resonating through shattered windows as Windu sidestepped, trying to regain control of the fight, and perhaps the broken young man before him. Don't let his darkness claim you too. With a sudden burst of rage-fueled strength, he shoved Windu back. The impact sent both of them crashing through the already fractured window, shards of transparent steel splintering around them as they plummeted. The world became a blur of roaring wind and chaotic momentum. They slammed into the durasteel floor of the level below, sabers igniting once more before either could fully recover. Windu rolled to his feet, his body aching and his breaths labored. The fall had drained him. The battle with Sidious still weighed heavy on his already fatigued muscles. Anakin stood opposite, seemingly unfazed. His expression was a twisted mask of wrath, dark side energy pulsing through every fiber of his being. Windu's form shifted fluidly into the rhythm of Vapad, channeling Anakin's darkness back toward him. But even the perfected technique faltered against raw, unrestrained rage. Each of Anakin's strikes pressed harder, faster, pushing Windu back, step by step. For a moment, Windu glimpsed the boy he once knew, buried beneath the anger and betrayal, but exhaustion gnawed at him, his senses dulling, his saber arm heavy. Anakin capitalized. A brutal feint followed by a precise strike disarmed Windu, his purple blade clattering across the floor. Before Windu could reach for it, Anakin's boot slammed into his chest, pinning him down. Breathing hard, Windu stared up at him, his tone low but unwavering. "It's not too late, Anakin." Anakin's saber hovered inches from Windu's throat, his eyes burning with conflict, until the darkness drowned any hesitation. "It was too late the moment you betrayed me." With a swift motion, Anakin plunged his blade downward, Silence settled over the ruined chamber, broken only by Anakin's unsteady breaths. The fall was over, both literal and otherwise. What have I done? Anakin thought. He just stood there for a moment looking at the vast Coruscant skylines before he made his next move. Does he sneak out of the 500 Republica? Perhaps. Windu probably took care of Palpatine's guards. But still, 500 Republica's security was the size of a small army. So how is nobody? Well, anywhere. Maybe Palpatine fought back, and he wanted to deal with the Jedi himself. In any case, there was no time for this. Anakin climbed back to Palpatine's office. Looking at the dead Sith Lord brought a small tear to his eye. But then he saw something interesting in the middle of the vast room. Palpatine's holocomputer was unlocked. All from his secret data pads and his secret communication lines. It was all open. But why? Why would Palpatine leave his private computer open? Except if he was trying to call for security or something. It was because of something called Order 66. Palpatine probably wanted to initiate some kind of security protocol. In any case, Anakin got an idea. Every secret of the galaxy was in front of him. He searched through the Palpatine's files until he found a file called Bounty Contacts. The file was overwritten with some kind of security. It was almost hidden, but simply opening it like an administrator did the trick. Before Anakin flashed images of a bunch of different bounty hunters, Dooku's bounty hunters. It was clear now. Palpatine really was definitely a Sith Lord. Even more, he seemed to be working with Dooku. Maybe Mace was right for striking him down. It was too late now. Anakin was already down the path he could not stop now. One of the bounty hunters was called Cad Bane. Anakin recalled this bounty hunter. He almost killed Ahsoka, and he broke into the Jedi Temple and stole a holocron. Wait, he stole a holocron? At that moment, Anakin got an idea. He memorized Bane's secret contact information and headed off, sneaking out of the building. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan and 202nd were fighting the remaining CS forces on Utapau system. It was a pretty good day in Obi-Wan's mind. He dealt with Grievous. They still had a battle to win, though. Meanwhile, Anakin was in the Coruscant lower levels. He wanted to go check on Padme, but he killed Windu. He could lie, saying that Palpatine killed him before he arrived. He could flip this situation around, making himself look like a hero, but he had more important things to do. He contacted Cad Bane through the secret communication lines he acquired from Palpatine's holocomputer. Bane usually doesn't come to the clients. Clients come to him, but Tyrannus told Bane that this communication line is reserved for the highest authority client. And if he ever needs him, Bane is to do whatever he says, and he will be rewarded with more credits than he'll know what to do with. So a few hours later, Bane would arrive at the storage unit in which the meeting is supposed to take place. He was expecting the highest royalty, but instead, Anakin Skywalker stepped out of the shadows. Bane immediately pulled out his blaster and shot at Anakin, but as he would soon find out, all of this was for nothing. Anakin was enraged. Bane had no chance of fighting him or even escaping for that matter. He screamed, "Ambush!" and turned on his jetpack, trying to fly away. But Anakin simply grabbed him with the Force and slammed him back to the ground. He ignited his saber and stepped towards Bane. Bane simply cowardly covered his face, waiting for his end, but it didn't come. Anakin was standing in front of him, cold look on his face, and he spoke, telling Bane that he will help him break into the Jedi Temple and steal some holocrons. Bane couldn't help but laugh a little, but it wasn't funny to Anakin. Bane just said that he has a personal motto of not working with Jedi. Besides, it's obviously an ambush. Anakin just said that he could easily kill him right now. There's no need to ambush him. He simply needs something from the restricted archive section. Besides that, he doesn't care what Bane takes during his escape. Bane thought about it for some time before answering. "We have a deal, Jedi." Anakin simply said he's not a Jedi anymore before saying he will send him the details of the plan and left. On Utapau, the 202nd won the battle. CIS forces were forced to retreat, and the Republic fleet was getting ready to go back to Coruscant. Obi-Wan knew Anakin needed him. He's been through a lot of stress recently, and with the end of the war nearing, he can afford to go back to the temple a little earlier. In the Jedi Council, a meeting is getting ready. It's very late, but Anakin said it's absolutely urgent. Many of the council members are absent. Some are present via holograms, but also one of the main council members, Mace Windu, is missing. Anakin informs the council that Palpatine is a Sith Lord. He killed Windu, but he managed to kill the Sith Lord. The council falls silent for a second until Kenobi speaks from a Republic dreadnought. This is most concerning, but the war is nearing the end. "Anakin, are you all right?" "Yes, Master. I'm fine." Yoda now speaks. "Grateful we are, Skywalker, that you have ended the Clone Wars. Without you, who knows what happened would have." Anakin just gives a slight nod, and the meeting ends. Anakin is exhausted. Some part of him wants to just go see Padme, but he knows he cannot do that yet. He needs to be strong and follow up with the attack on the Jedi archives now. Otherwise, members of the Council could return to Coruscant, and the situation would then get much more complicated. Around an hour later, Bane is getting ready to again break into the Jedi archives through the ventilation system. Anakin gave him some real nice insight. Everything from the Jedi Temple layout to detailed schematics. He also deactivated most of the security systems, so he has plenty of help from the inside. So Bane makes his way through the ventilation system to the Jedi archives. From there, he disables the extremely intense security of the archives from the inside. Then, Anakin grabs his saber, igniting it, and making a hole in the extremely thick durasteel door that leads to the archives. It was intense work. Even a lightsaber could not cut through the door immediately. He needed to melt a part of the door so he could extend his blade deeper into the hole, until finally the lightsaber sliced through the door just enough for Anakin to make his way inside. His metal arm was almost completely destroyed from all the liquid metal that was leaking all over it from slicing the door, and so was the lightsaber. There was no way Anakin could do this on his own. The alarms would trigger immediately, but Bane turned everything off with his Admin Jedi Master security privilege. Anybody who can access the archives can turn off the whole security of the archives. So, they went to work. Anakin absorbed all the knowledge he could, but nothing was good enough to save Padme. Finally, he found some brief mentions of Force healing. He grabbed the holocron with that data inside. Meanwhile, Bane was packing his bags full of holocrons, and he headed out again through the ventilation systems. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan arrived at Coruscant. He could feel some kind of disturbance, almost like Anakin was being disingenuous during the meeting. So, with urgency, he made his way to the temple. There he trusted the Force to guide him. He went to the Jedi library and immediately figured out that some temple security systems were deactivated for whatever reason. He closed his eyes. Pain, near, fear. Something very familiar. A familiar place. Pain, regret. It has to be Anakin. He's near, but he doesn't want to answer his comlink. He closes his eyes again. Urgency. A feeling comes to him. Something oddly specific. Almost like Anakin is absorbing information with an urgency. He stands up, running through the Jedi library, but Anakin is nowhere to be found. Where else could he be? He decides he will check on the Jedi archives, just in case. He makes his way to a room leading to the archives. Only Jedi Knights and Masters are permitted to access this room. There was nobody anywhere. That's strange. Usually at least a few Jedi Knights are looming in these corridors. And there it was. The room leading to the Jedi archives. The doors were closed, but there was a hole in them. The Jedi Order has to be under attack. He uses his admin permissions as a master to open the door, and he sees Anakin. For a split second, he thinks of just asking what the hell is going on, but then Anakin jumps in the vent, and Obi-Wan leaps after him. Anakin is carrying the holocron he believes contains the information. He contacts Bane on his conlink, telling him to wait outside of where he escaped with a speeder. Finally, Anakin reaches the end of the vent. Obi-Wan is right behind him. He turns, a sinister look on his face, looking directly at his master before he steps back. Obi-Wan looks down at the vast city before he sees Anakin on top of a speeder flying away. Bane drops Anakin off in the underworld. Anakin doesn't waste any time. He finds public transport going to the Federal District. From there, he takes a taxi to the Senator's apartment complex, making his way to Padme's apartment. In the Jedi Temple, Obi-Wan acts with extreme urgency. He thinks, where could Anakin be going next? But honestly, he has no idea. What is he even trying to do? Obi-Wan is lost and disappointed with his apprentice. In the Senator's apartment, Anakin talks with Padme with urgency. He explains they need to leave. Padme tries to argue, but Anakin just begs her to trust him, and Padme does. They take off on the Nubian immediately. On the ship, Anakin explains that he's trying to save her. Padme insists that they return to Coruscant and that this got into his head way too much. But deep down, Padme understands, and she really doesn't want to endanger their kids. If Anakin thinks that he can save her, then she has to trust him. They soon find another, less suspicious transport and make their way to Naboo. Anakin argued that they should find a less suspicious place, but Padme simply said that she knew Naboo very well. She knows places where nobody would ever search for them. They eventually get settled in a small apartment they rent. It's mostly for couples on holidays, but they soon acquire some credits from Bail Organa and manage to pay off the whole thing. Anakin and Padme decide to raise their children in this place. It's beautiful. Anakin studies the holocron every day until the childbirth, but it wasn't necessary at all. He stopped having nightmares about Padme dying, and she gave a healthy birth to the twins soon. Anakin feels extremely guilty for everything he did. He betrayed the Order and his family, but he was eternally grateful for Padme and his children being all right. 5 years later, Sindralig is looking at the sunset outside the temple near the entrance when three figures with long robes make their way out of the speeder far below. They start making their way up the endless temple stairs. Two temple guards approach them, but soon the guards are marching up the stairs with them. Dralig is confused. What is happening? Eventually, the figures make their way up the stairs, and Dralig explains, this is a restricted area. He can only see a smirk on the hooded figure's face until he hears a familiar voice. Don't you remember me? Anakin? What is he doing here? And soon inside the Jedi Council chamber, Anakin, Luke, and Leia are standing. All the masters have smirks on their faces. Anakin starts speaking. First of all, greetings everyone. It's been a while. I'll get straight to the point. I'm sorry for my behavior during the end of the war. Let me first explain some things. First off, Master Windu is the one who killed the Chancellor. When I arrived at the Palpatine office, I was consumed by rage when seeing my former mentor's dead body on the floor. Palpatine manipulated me. He said he can save Senator Amidala. You see, at the time, Senator Amidala, my wife, was carrying twins. I had dreams of her dying, and Chancellor said he could save her. When I saw him lying dead, I grew enraged, consumed by the dark side. I attacked Master Windu. We dueled for a while, but eventually I got an upper hand and struck him down. The council was completely silent. Obi-Wan's face went from interested to enraged. Anakin continues. Later that day, I orchestrated an attack on the temple with a bounty hunter. I needed access to the Jedi archives so I could save my wife from a certain death. I and the senator went into hiding. I'm glad to announce there were no complications during the childbirth, as is evident. He looks down at Luke and Leia. I understand you can't forgive me, but perhaps you may consider training my children. I'm truly sorry. I was just so frustrated and seduced by the dark side. I'm also returning the holocron. I won't be needing it anymore. The room falls silent for a moment before Yoda speaks. Understand? We do, young Skywalker. Think it through, we will. Happy we are for you and your wife. After the meeting, Obi-Wan could not help but hug Anakin. Anakin was a real attraction. Many Jedi Padawans, knights, and even masters wanted to hear how he's been. And of course the stories from the Clone Wars. And then there was Ahsoka. She told Anakin she and Obi-Wan searched for him for years. Anakin just gives an awkward smile, saying he apologizes for the inconvenience. Ahsoka just gives him a light smile. And so Obi-Wan and Anakin went to the cafeteria to catch up, and Ahsoka showed Luke and Leia, the new Jedi younglings, around the temple.